So many players often hit very one-dimensional shots from the back of the court, and we want to find a way of really catching your opponent off guard. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi guys, Sandy here. Whatever level you're playing, whether it's beginner right the way up to advanced, you want to try and catch your opponents off guard. So in this video, we're going to discuss different ways that you can actually change the speed of your shot to put your opponents under pressure. So to begin with, we're going to talk about the back of the court, because this is an area where new players, and particularly tennis players, get very comfortable here hitting at one pace. Now by that I mean whatever ball they're going to hit, they hit the same speed every single shot. That's usually one issue, or the other issue is that they try to hit too hard. Their objective in tennis is to hit past their opponents, so in their mind they come to a paddle court and they try and hit past their opponents at net. Obviously the difference here is that there's a wall behind their opponents, so if they hit a really hard passing shot, that ball will bounce off that back glass and come back to them at net, so it is much less effective. So to begin with, we're going to talk about how you can change up the speed of your shot from the back of the court. Now for those of you that watch the World Padel Tour, you will notice that they hit almost every single shot differently. There's a different intention, so they hit a different shot. They hit, a Chiquita, fast to the body, high ball to the player's backhand, a lob, Chiquita, angle. They use so many different shots and different speeds to try and catch their opponents out, because at that level, that's what they need to do to try and get in the advantage in the point. But the same is the case for your games as well. Yeah, you want to make sure that you can change the speed of your shot. You can hit soft down to the feet, you can hit a ball faster to the body, because it will be unpredictable for your opponents. And that is really the aim from the back of the court, is to be as unpredictable as possible. Yeah, your job from the back of the court is to try and get to the front of the court with a risk-free tactic. Yeah, so you want to try and force an easy ball, hit a lob, and then come forward. That's the ideal way, and the best way to get that short ball that you can then hit the lob on is to be unpredictable and force them to hit difficult shots. That's really what your job is from the back of the court. A part of the game that is really exciting in paddle, and it differs from tennis, is that if you're at the back of the court and your opponents are at the front of the court, it doesn't necessarily mean that you always need to be defending from the back and attacking from the net. You want them to almost defend with their volleys, yeah? And in order to do so, you need to change the speed and the direction of your shots. Now, a Chiquita will only be effective in your game if you are also hitting lobs. If you're not hitting lobs, then your opponents won't worry about the space behind them, and therefore they won't go far enough back to give you space for the Chiquita. And the same applies if you're only hitting lobs and you're not hitting any down to the feet. If the player serves and you lob, and every single opportunity you'll lob, well, they're just going to take a few steps back and they're going to be in a position to attack you with their smash. So it's really important that, all of these kind of ingredients are going into your game. You need to learn to hit that Chiquita to bring them forward. That will then give you space to hit your lob into over their heads. Yeah, so if you're going to use one of them, make sure you try and use all of them. And the best way to do this is to experiment in your matches. Yeah, when you've got the opportunity, hit a lob. When you see that there's a nice big gap down to the feet, or maybe they're in no man's land, that is another good time to play down to the feet. Then use it in your games. Yeah, experimentation is the best way to get this part of the game into the way you play your matches. The same is absolutely true from the front of the court as well. If you are here hitting every volley fast, your opponents are going to begin to anticipate that that's what you're going to do, and they're going to leave every ball for the glass. And you might find them coming up the little court a little bit just to go into no man's land, because if you're volleying fast and flat off the glass, that's a better place for them to be. But if you are mixing that up with a soft ball that bounces near that back glass with a second bounce, or softly into the corners, or you're using angles with the fence, and you mix that with fast volleys, then that again is being unpredictable to your opponents, and you're more likely to win the point. Now, I'm not saying take huge risks, because you don't want to take big risks with the shot, but you want to play within your capabilities and change the speed of the shots as much as you can. So when it comes to your objective for this week, try and play at least one set where your objective is every single shot is going to be different from the last. So if you've hit a fast ball to the body, the next one is going to be a Chiquita, or if you've hit a lob, then the next time you're going to try and hit down to the feet. And even though sometimes it might be good to play a lob after another lob, this will be a good way to practice experimenting with your game and changing the rhythm of the play. Yeah? So that will be your objective, is to try and hit each shot a little bit different from the previous shot. Now on this side, I'm actually going to put a tactical video on another way to play, you know, to learn the idea of patience in your paddle. And if you're someone that is really aggressive and impatient, then here we have a very good objective and strategy that you can use.